Hello, and welcome again to another episode of the Icon Podcast, HTV, Hear Their Voices. I'm your host, Priscilla Ozodo Acevedo, and it's such a joy to be back with you this week. For those of you who may be joining us for the first time, Icon is the International Committee on Nigeria, and we promote human dignity, the right to live, religious freedom, and the protection of the vulnerable from all forms of persecution in Nigeria. So, in this season of HTV, this season of this podcast, we are encouraging all of our guests and encouraging you as our viewers to speak up on behalf of the injustices going on in Nigeria today. And it's been amazing. We kicked off this Speak Up campaign mostly with the Leah hashtag Speak Up for Leah, and we're still asking you to keep up with that. Last week we were honored to have Nagme here, and she just talked about her experience of having gone through her husband being imprisoned. Yes, that's the Speak Up to Leah, Speak Up for Leah campaign, y'all. Campaign that we have. We are keeping that going. So let's not stop. Let's keep speaking up for Leah using the hashtag Speak Up for Leah. Let's also speak up for Nigeria. Use the hashtag Speak Up for Nigeria, Speak Up for Leah, Free Leah, and all of those hashtags. We are raising awareness and raising a collective voice, like it says, to end the injustices and persecution going on in Nigeria. Before we go on, I want to remind you, we do this every week. So pick up that phone and click. If you are following us, you should have gotten a notification that says Icon is live now on YouTube or on Facebook. If you didn't receive it, why are you not subscribed to our channel? Go subscribe right now. I can help. Go subscribe right now. But if you're watching this, I want to challenge you to just click that share button. Share it to somebody you know, or somebody, or just to your friends. But it might be helpful to target your sharing to somebody who might be more influential than you or has more friends, and we want to get the word out there. So click share and let's get the word to everybody, and let's talk about being a collective voice against persecution and injustice in Nigeria. Okay, so thank you. On another announcement, I'm excited. We are very excited to announce that Icon, this HTV podcast is not just going on YouTube and on Facebook. You are now going to be able to catch the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and Google Music, and all of the places where you get all your podcasts. Okay, you can get this podcast. Just search Icon HTV, you will find this particular podcast. You can watch us live still every week. You can watch us live on Facebook, on YouTube every week, and subscribe to our channel. But just in case you missed it, or you don't have time to stop and watch, you can just put it in your headphones when you go on a run and listen to us on your favorite podcast outlets. So this is exciting stuff. It's a real podcast, okay? So you can go listen to it where you listen to all your other podcasts. So I'm super excited, and I'm excited to welcome you to our guests this week. We've been focusing a little bit on other people's stories, on life stories of people who have experienced persecution, and we want you to enter into their stories and see if we can make a connection between what they went through and what is going on in Nigeria. This is our second week doing that, and I'm excited to introduce you to our guest. But before then, here is the news of the week. So, news of the week. I'm just going to give you like a brief gist because I want us to have enough time with our guests. But the first news says a curfew has been imposed in Nigerian town. This news is from Al Jazeera, and this is the gist. You remember the young ladies that were taken away from their schools and kidnapped? Praise the Lord, they were returned to their homes. However, instead of the rejoicing and celebration that should have marked their return, there was gunshots, and there was at least 3 people that were shot, and they had to impose a curfew on this town. And families that came to receive their daughters were frightened by gunshots and by 3 people being shot on the day that these girls were released. All that to say that yes, the girls have been released, but the struggle is not over. They're not suddenly safe from harm. This is a critical situation. This news is on Al Jazeera. You can receive this news by following us on Facebook. We post the stories, or you can subscribe to our for subscribe to our weekly news emails, and we will send them to you. Our second headline for today features the killings. Masari is a governor in Nigeria, and just let's hear about this story, okay? Because this kind of got me disheveled, if that's a word I can use right now. Gumi is a religious scholar, an Islamic religious scholar. And Gumi is appealing to the government, to the federal government, to or demanding amnesty for bandits. And thank God for people like Masari, who says, no, brother, no. He says there's no way that he should be demanding for amnesty. Instead, they should be taught about how killings is not part of their teaching, and how killing, he says, killing animals is not even permitted. Talk more of killing humans. So a lot of what in case you're wondering where is this coming from, some of these states that have actually arrested some of these terrorists that have been killing masses of people, they take them through a rehabilitation process and say, oh, let's buy them a house and give them something. And this is a call. This news from thisdaylive.com is saying that Masare is saying no. Let us stop rewarding. We talked a little bit about this last week too. Let us stop the cycle of rewarding these bandits by amnesty, by offering amnesty, but instead they should be brought to justice and should answer for their actions. This is the news of the week. Stay connected with us on Facebook. You can subscribe at iconhelp.org to receive more news about what's going on in Nigeria. There's constant updates every week on iconhelp.org. So stay in touch with us for that. Okay? All right. It's time. I'm very excited. And I think our guest is considered, a hero of the faith, because she went through persecution and she has gone through a lot in defense of her faith. Our guest today is Mariam Ibraheem. She's a Sudanese religious freedom activist and public speaker. Mariam was imprisoned with her 9-month-old son during her second pregnancy for refusing to recant her faith. She gave birth to her daughter while in prison in May 2014. Mariam publicly advocates for those who are persecuted for their faith. Please join me and welcome Mariam Ibraheem to the studio. Welcome, Mariam. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to introduce you to our viewers, because I think your story is so unique. But for those who have no idea, who never read about your story, can you just tell them a little bit about yourself, what your background was? When they say, who is Mariam? Like, how should they view you? How should they get to know you at this time?
Right, thank you. I am Mariam Ibraheem. I'm religious persecution survivor from Sudan. I survived this sentence, and I was charged with apostasy and adultery. I was born for a Muslim father and Christian mother, but on my country, I was considered a Muslim because, the discrimination against women. So, and then my marriage was invalid, considered invalid by the court, because Muslim girls cannot marry to Christian man.
Wow.
So I was sentenced to, I was transferred to prison on Christmas Eve 2013, and been trials through court process, and all the way to May 11 I was given 3 days to that's where my charge was confirmed. and I have an option to talk to Muslim imam or scholars for 3 days. And then I went back to court on May 15 on 2014. That's why I received my sentence. And then my children also are considered unadulterated children, so they're supposed to be sent to an orphanage. My son was 18 months at the time, and I was pregnant 7 months. My daughter was born premature in prison cell. So we released, by the grace of God, we released on June 23rd. And I was rearrested next day also on Khartoum airport on the way leaving home, because the day I was released, I was informed that I'm no longer able to go back to my house, normal life. So I was released after too many pressure and too many advocacy, very hard advocacy work and prayer. And I have to seek refuge in U.S. Embassy for a month with my children. And also the process in negotiation between the U.S. government, and when it failed, the Vatican and Italian government stepped in to negotiate with Sudan to allow me leave the country. And even when I was rearrested, I was given a chance. I've been asked to give up all my property and everything I want, because I started small businesses and things like that. So I have to give up everything. But he didn't let me go. So it's been an incredible journey. With I never felt scared or fear for my life, as much as I was always knowing that there's a purpose for my suffering. And as it's happened, my story actually brought so much attention. And that's what I noticed in prison. Even when during my trials, the guard will tell me, there's many like you happened before. Just say, accept a shahada, tell the judge I'm a Muslim, and then just go. And I said, no, this is wrong, and it shouldn't be that way. So it's my story brought so much attention and to the issues of religious persecution and what women face in our countries and region. And it's after my case, I did notice that there's so much change happen, and people start to know that we need to speak up, and the world would hear us. The world does. The world hear. God hear my prayer and put me in the heart of millions of people around the world.
Wow.
I was born in a refugee camp. My mom fled war in Ethiopia and settled in Sudan. And I was abandoned by my father when I was only 6 years old with my two siblings. We grew up in a situation like, if you ask somebody, how do you get to know some? This is how God works in our life. This is a power of prayer, because my little boy, my son, and I was praying using my hands as a rosary and our finger during our time in prison. We're not allowed to have Bible. We're not allowed to wear a cross. So you have to hide everything, and we're not allowed to do anything. Even there's a small church inside the prison, but I can't go there.
Wow.
But you know what? It is not about church or books or anything. It's what's in our heart.
Yes.
God sees that, and God sees what every persecuted believer are suffering. He sees what's in their heart.
Yeah, Miriam, when I hear your story, it just very clearly reminds me of what we're hearing about Leah. And you have heard about Leah, and you have been involved with her story a little bit. What are some similarities between what happened to you and what's happening to Leah in Nigeria? And for our audience, if you've never heard us talk about Leah Sharibu is a persecuted Christian who is imprisoned or kidnapped in Nigeria by a terrorist group called Boko Haram. And others were released, but she was not released because she's been asked to accept to recant her Christian faith and accept Islam, and she refused to do that. And because of that, they have kept her as a prisoner. This was the third year. We just celebrated that recently, and that's in an artistic image of Leah, or what she would look like right now. She was taken away when she was 14, and now she'll be 17. So I hear your story, Miriam, and I'm it just reminds me of Leah. How did you, when you heard about the story of Leah, did you feel some kind of connection to her, and what has made you advocate for her so much?
Well, the first group of girls who've been abducted by Boko Haram, they was released the day, the second or third day from
Mm-hmm.
my release also, and it was at the U.S. Embassy. I saw that in the TV, and since that time, it's something really deep in my heart, and I start praying for the persecuted, because even though we face persecution in Sudan every single day before I go to prison, but I never thought about it that way, you know. And even though we do things like we're scared of the government, yes, we do. We be careful about things. Even I volunteer at Resonance with the little sister of the poor charities. So when I go to the meeting, we have to go through behind door, hide from the government. So with Leah, when Leah's case happened, I haven't heard from the news or anything like that, but I got email from one of my friends with CSW, Christian Solidarity Worldwide. So they told me about Leah, and I start scrolling down and reading the email and the story, and like, she's 14 years old. And I was just like tear on my eyes. I couldn't even able to finish reading the email. Like I have a daughter now, and my daughter, I'm getting my kids ready to school. Like, she's in her way to school. Like, that is not okay. And if like girls are not, I know that girls are not safe even to go to school. So I started praying. And when my kids came back to school, I put them down and we talked about Leah and our prayer time in her home, and we prayed for her. We started praying for Leah every night. I put my kids to bed and we pray for Leah, and I pray for the persecuted believer. So, and then that night I just thought about her mom and her feeling. I said she needed prayer more to stand us, because we all in God's hand in that situation. Okay? She might be feel scared. Her capture might scare her, might harm her, might do anything, and have done before for me. And I never even experienced any physical pain, even the same after. And I went to sleep that night. It's like an year from that, from the case. I saw her in my dream.
Wow.
I saw her in my dream, and
Can you talk about that a little bit more?
She is so much peace. And I know that she might be forced to pray Islamic prayer. She might be forced to wear certain clothing. She might be forced out. But Jesus in Leah's heart. I saw that. I witnessed that.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And I woke up in the morning and I did call my friend Anne Basham. I said, Anne, on our staff organization, I said, Anne, we needed to host prayer vigil for Leah. Like, who's Leah? And I sent her information about the case. She said, do you think this is going to be helpful? I said, yes, we needed to do that, because I promised to do that. I promised her to do that. So we communicate with some friends and with Leah Foundation. And we hosted the small prayer vigil, event, and it happened to be I was in DC that time. We're talking about my country back home in Sudan. We have issues of genocide in Darfur.
Yeah.
So, and my story brought so much freedom to my country. Okay, and I have faith, and I believe that Leah's story would do the same for Nigeria and for all Africans.
Amen. Amen.
Around the world, because that's how God works. He do miracles in our life. He do miracles by our suffering, even during our suffering and trials. He turned it to joy, and He turned it for good for us, because we have faith in Him.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. Thank you for sharing that. I just want to piggyback a little bit, because you were imprisoned for a while, and then you came out and you found out that millions of people had been advocating for you. And we are trying to get people to start advocating and speaking up on behalf of Leah. What do you think will help people to get involved in this narrative? Like, there are people that are saying, "Oh my goodness, I hear this story about Leah, but what can I do?" What are some things that people did for you that you think they can do for Leah and for other people? We will come back and talk about the other girls that were just abducted in Nigeria, but how do you think our viewers can get involved and speak on behalf of Leah?
Well, I will tell you this. You can see that whenever happen, yeah, something came on your way about
Mm-hmm.
persecution or
Mm-hmm.
about somebody who been in jail or kidnapped, or you just notice something in the news. Don't ignore it. Don't go, because this is might be a prayer answer for that person's prayer. Because
Yeah.
I don't have any communication when I'm in prison. I'm not even allowed to have a piece of paper or pen. I'm not allowed to talk over the phone. I don't have phone. I'm not allowed, even when I need to talk to my lawyer, I can't. I
Hmm.
don't. I just tell them and inform the prison administration, and then they do the communication. But I pray, and God answered my prayers through my prayer. That's how people get to know me. So when you ever happen, you hear about story of prosecution, don't ignore it. Don't say no, somebody else. Oh, this is not my job. You pray,
Hmm.
you speak up, you share it, you talk about it in your church, talk about it with your children, with your family. Like, we share each other's suffering, especially us as a Christian.
Hmm.
We share Christ's suffering. And it's very important for us to stand in solidarity with each other. It's
Yes.
very important, because even for who those are persecuted us, we do pray for them before we think about getting upset or why they do that, or put them. We can't even try to put them as an enemies, because
Hmm.
I tell my kids, they don't. My son was telling me, the people who put us in jail because they don't like Jesus. I say I can make an
Hmm.
assumption about
Hmm.
what's in their heart, because
Yeah.
I do know that they don't know him.
Yeah.
So we pray that God will make himself known to them,
Hmm.
change the heart of the stone and give them a heart of the flesh, and
Hmm.
to start to realize that the way they treat other people because they're different them for what they believe is not
Yeah.
right. Please
Yeah.
speak up for other, and share the story of the persecution with
Yes.
other people in your
Yeah,
church,
we've been
in your community.
yeah, we've been talking about having people share because we've created
Mm-hmm,
several videos, and I just want to put a plug into our viewers. We have videos on Instagram that tell Leah's story in like
mm-hmm,
2 minutes. Just share that.
mm-hmm.
It's as simple as clicking share on Facebook or downloading the repost app on Instagram and sharing that.
Yeah, even me
Share.
now, after I came out, like I don't have access to all this news on social media,
Mhm.
but after I came out, even now when I go back to all the social media platforms being used in my case, and I read that, it's give me like so much carries. Like, I needed to do the same. I
Hmm.
needed to speak up, because there's too many people other than me still are suffering. And if it's happened and I was released and I am here today, it's because of this work and it's because
Yeah.
of these voices. So, and I needed to do the same. And I'm so blessed to be able to do that.
Wow, thank you so much. Nagme said something last week. She said she was giving a quote, but the basic gist of it was, if we don't speak out now, there'll be a time when we will be the one in need and
Always
nobody will
need
speak up for
another
us. And it's
voice.
absolutely important that we are the voice of the voiceless. So it's as simple
Mhm.
as clicking share or getting involved, reading the news. Some of us just ignore things that don't seem
Or
as
somebody else will
exciting.
do it. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But just as we begin to round up, I want you said something when we were chatting just before we came on air, that there's celebration that the girls who were kidnapped just last week um, are returned home. And you said this is not the end of the story. Can you talk a little bit more about the security situation as you see it or as you hear about it in Nigeria?
Yes, and I believe this is really the right time for the international community and what to know. There's somehow, because we know all the situation and it's been clear, like, if the girls are not safe to go back to school, if the families are not safe being attacked by the gunmen or by the terrorists. This is not okay, and it's very important that we should now act at this time. And there's any way that we can do to help those people. This is the right time for that, because it just broke my heart when I saw one of the girls said, "I really want to go back. I want to go back to school." They're not. They're
Yeah.
free, but they're not safe. Their life will never be the same.
No.
And all she wants is she want to go back to school and she want a bright future.
Yeah.
Those 300 girls are not just number. They are future. They are mothers in the future. They are daughters in the future. They are a doctor. They are a teacher. They are someone who built the country. Like, we can't be silent with something like that happen. Because this is the generation. This is the future of the whole country. When this is just not a number, like we just saw 300 girls, 120 girls is not a number. They are alive. They have a future, and we should do all we can to make sure they are safe and they're protected and their life is normal, like any other girls and everywhere.
Thank you so much for saying that, because a lot of people say, well, they're back home now. But I heard an interview with one of the mothers that said, if my daughter gets back, she's never going back to school. And that cuts short
And
their
we don't know even what
future.
happened to them. They don't know what the trauma, they don't know what the abuse and violence they have faced the 3 or 4 days being kidnapped. We don't know. Even during
and the trauma.
And they are too young to experience something like that. I can't even imagine how hard it is for them. And it's just not right.
Yeah.
And we should step out now and speak up, and there's something got to be done about it. Really, it's very concerning, and it's every single day it's something new.
Yes.
A new suffering, and this is people and their lives. They're not just number, we just talk about it. They're not just innocent, we just, oh yeah, it's happened, and then okay, we fix it. We know who is a criminal, and we know who is wrong, and we know how to fix it, and we should act now.
Thank you so much for that. I wish I had more time to keep talking to you, Mariam. I'm gonna try to stay in contact with, not try, I'm going to stay in contact with you, because I love the perspective that you bring. I just want you, before we leave, to just talk a little bit about the advocacy work you're doing right now for girls that are abused through your organization. And just I know you spoke at the UN conference in Geneva a few days ago. So just speak a little bit about what your situation with being arrested, what did that lead to, and what are some of the things you're involved with right now?
Well, that's actually opened my imprisonment time in prison is opened my eyes for too many things. I do volunteer at my church in a small area, and I do a lot of work in my church, but I have never thought about things that way. And that is when we say God have purpose in our suffering. So I do advocate for religious freedom and women's. We have Tahrir Anisa Foundation. It's Arabic name, which means liberating women or setting them free from any persecution, abuse they face in the community, family, or from authorities. I do speak on churches. I share the gospel with people, and I don't know, but God is doing good things in my life, and I'm very grateful for every opportunity and for every chance that I will share my story or advocate for others. It's a blessing for me, and I'm just trying.
You're doing more than trying. I think you are an example to us all of what it looks like to rise above your adversity. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for not just getting through what you went through, but for standing and advocating for others. The website that you see, our viewers, is their website. And it has all the information. We are going to send you a link so you can follow them, so you can find them on social media and just try to support the work that they do. Thank you so much for being here. If you had the opportunity. I love that you said you saw Leah in your dream and God gave you that opportunity to see the peace that is in her soul. If you had an opportunity to speak to Leah right now, what will you say to her?
I will tell her, yes, God love you. For her to be in that place, it's an assignment from God. It's an assignment from God. And I pray that she'll understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's continue to all pray for Leah. Thank you so much, Mariam, for this opportunity. I'm hoping that this is the first of many conversations because I think there's so much more that we can talk about, but we're trying to keep this to a half hour. And I'm so grateful for your time. Again, everyone, please just join me to celebrate Mariam and for her time with us. Follow us on social media. We'll be posting ways that you can connect with her. And we are so grateful for having you at this time. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week.
Much, and you too.
Yes, we appreciate you. So there you have it. I love that everyone is saying the same thing. Get involved, please. Get involved. In Nigeria, we'll say I beg. We can't stress this enough. Be the voice for Leah. Be the voice of these 300 girls that have been abducted and given back, but it seems like everything is okay, but it's not. Let's stand on behalf of Nigeria. What do you do? What do? I don't know what to do. Well, I'll tell you. First, if you have any questions, you can email us at info@iconhelp.org. You can follow us on Facebook at Icon Help. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Icon Help. Follow us on Twitter, Icon Help 1, or on Instagram, Icon Help 1. That's wrong. The sliding thing is wrong. We're on Instagram as Icon Help 1 right now, okay? Same as Twitter. So follow us on social media and hear about the stories and share. The most basic way to get involved is to share and pray. Share and pray. You might be like, I'm not a person of faith. How do I pray? Send good vibes. You can also connect with your congressperson or your senator. Call them, write a letter and say what's going on with the situation in Nigeria. When you heard from Nagme last week, she said when they hear from 2, 3, 4, 5 of us, they will pay attention to what's going on. And if you have questions, you want to engage, join the conversation. We want to see your comments. I'm grateful to those of you who have left comments and who have joined the conversation in this live broadcast, but we want to hear more from you. We want to answer your questions. We'll be sending some surveys on Instagram. Join the conversation. This is all of us speaking up on behalf and against injustice and persecution in Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another episode of Hear Their Voices, this Icon podcast. My name is Priscilla Ozodo Acevedo. It's been a joy being your host again. See you next week. God bless you.